Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our main event of the evening. We would once again like to thank our friends and our newest sponsors at Toymeister for sponsoring this match. Toymeister Toys and Games, the largest selection of toys on the East Coast. Located inside the Virginia Beach Antique Mall at 3900 Bonnie Road, Toymeister Toys and Games is 2 floors, more than 20,000 square feet, with over 1 million toys, video games, and collectibles to choose from. The selection spans every decade to satisfy the inner child in all of us. Once again, thank you to Toymeister for sponsoring this match, our main event here at the Liberty Lottery. Introducing the competitors. Steph De Lander, hailing from Long Island, New York, weighing in at 230 pounds, the Deathmatch King, Cardona!
He is the king of the Indies, and he promised to embarrass Brandon Scott in front of Brandon's family and friends. The internet champion who is always ready. I mean, the list of accomplishments that Matt Cardona has achieved in his career could fill a book, but here's just a selection. He is a former WWE Intercontinental Champion. He is a former WWE Tag Team Champion, an Impact Wrestling Digital Media Champion, GCW Champion. That is only the beginning, because there is not a company that he has entered, or very barely one, that Matt Cardona has not won gold.
I mean, Matt Cardona he calls himself the king of the indies, and he's not wrong. He's had tremendous success. but he has never faced a competitor. He's never been here in VCW, never faced a competitor like Brandon Scott, who I want to point out has won more matches and more championships in VCW than Matt Cardona has.
That is true. At this moment, in VCW, Brandon Scott has won more championships. You want to talk about a man who has won more championships in the last 3 years than most wrestlers even try for in their entire career. Matt Cardona, how could you bet against him?
Oh, it's very, very hard. I mean, look at the crown, the belts, so much hardware he's carrying with him. It's very hard to ever bet against Matt Cardona.
And of course, the intangible accompanied by the women's digital, the women's internet champion. Thank you. Steph De Lander, who we already saw victorious earlier this evening, coming in with all the momentum in the world.
Absolutely, you got to believe that the experience and having Steph De Lander in his corner are both huge advantages for Matt Cardona. But this is Brandon Scott's home turf. He is not going to just stay back and let Matt Cardona come in here and win in his company.
No, of course, Brandon Scott is not going to lie down and take it. But Matt Cardona was very clear, put out a tweet earlier tonight that said he is not expecting a long match. Matt Cardona does not think very highly of Brandon Scott. Basically, Brandon Scott played Matt's lackey in the last match musical, and I think Matt Cardona thinks Brandon is his lackey.
Matt Cardona in Northridge, Virginia. You know, since this is the biggest event of the year, I think Matt Cardona, if you're not a chicken, you'll put that title on the line tonight against me. The internet title, yeah, that one. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. You guys want to see it?
Challenge has been laid out.
Now you want me to put the Deathmatch King crown on the line too? So you want me to put the Internet Championship and the crown on the line against Brandon Scott? You're on, pal.
Okay.
The stakes have been raised. This match not only for Pride, this match now for the Internet Championship and the Deathmatch crown.
To be clear though, this is not a death match. I'm confused by this because this is not a death match, but
If you follow the career of Matt Cardona, you know that while he is the Deathmatch King, it's because he has an undefeated record of 1-0 in death matches.
yeah, I mean this is not unexpected. We're gonna see what's gonna happen here. I think that Matt Cardona may have been a little too ambitious here.
Very confident, very confident. We'll go ahead and take these.
These championships, Steph De Lander just putting all of the gold here at our feet.
I mean, that is a heck of a crown.
That's very impressive. I'm a little nervous being this close to it. I'm afraid I'm going to get hurt.
A little nervous being this close to Steph De Lander. I think I'm going to get hurt. That is a scary woman. She's in the corner of Matt Cardona, and she is a difference maker. Matt Cardona's heater, as he calls her, has been a real career asset to him. They travel the world together, literally just arrived from Japan.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Will that jet lag, will the schedule be something that factors into this match?
With most people, I would say yes, but Cardona has been doing this for so long and at such a high level, I think he just feeds off of it. It's really astonishing to see. He's just that good. I think being in the ring just gets him fired up, no matter where he's come from or where he's going to next.
And now being frustrated by Brandon Scott, who's trying to cut off the momentum, kind of cool Matt Cardona down a bit, already baited him into putting up both his Internet Championship and his Deathmatch crown on the line.
I mean, I have to be honest with you, Jason. I feel like that's kind of a win already for Brandon Scott, just to even have this shot.
Brandon Scott's the kind of competitor where if he doesn't walk out of this match with a victory, it's not going to feel like a win. He's not a participation trophy kind of guy.
I mean, look, I think Brandon Scott is making a strategic decision right now.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will affect me forever in terms of my self-worth and force me to spend years of money in therapy. I think Matt Cardona has very successfully gotten in the skin and in the head of Brandon Scott.
I mean, I would have said no, but it drew Brandon Scott in the ring, so apparently, yeah, it seems like he did. Oh, not a clean break at all there.
And Brandon Scott yet again turning tail and running. That is fear in his eyes, my friend.
That is strategy from Brandon Scott.
It doesn't have to be one or the other. Fear sometimes leads to strategy.
Hey, look, a win's a win, that's all that matters. If he wins the Deathmatch crown and the Internet Championship, that's all
well,
that
right
matters.
now he is giving a rather emphatic signal to Matt Cardona of exactly what he thinks of the King of the Indies.
I mean, that's Matt Cardona's own merchandise, so I'm not sure exactly what he's doing there.
Using a man's own middle finger against him.
I'll have to look up the law on that one. I mean, Brandon Scott, as much as I admire the strategy and trying to get Matt Cardona's head, at the end of the day, he's got to get in there and he's got to beat Matt Cardona and win those championships.
Yeah, you cannot win on the outside of the ring. As you mentioned, this is not a death match. Matt Cardona, I mean, what incredible shape this guy is in. His cardio is impeccable. He is on the road 52 weeks a year. He is wrestling 2 to 3 matches a weekend. He is traveling all over the world. This guy is a machine.
He is, and the thing is, it's not just that he's wrestling 2 to 3 matches a weekend. He's wrestling 2 to 3 matches a weekend in 2 to 3 different states, often 2 to 3 different time zones.
And Brandon Scott forced the break on the hold, got it a cheap shot, and immediately back to the outside. And this is strategy, and it's very effective.
It's stick and move.
And frustrate, trying to get Matt Cardona to make a mistake.
Oh, sure. All it takes is one mistake for something like the slice of excellence, a 3 count, and we have a new Internet champion and deathmatch crown.
Well, Brandon Scott just took a chair from our timekeeper who's having a rough night.
Yeah, and is just having a seat, apparently. He can't win out there. I don't really know what he's doing.
But he can beat Matt Cardona in the mental game. That certainly seems to be Brandon Scott's most successful offense at this point. It hasn't been physical, it's been mental.
Well, it's true. No, I mean, it's clearly the strategy Brandon Scott came into this with was goad Matt Cardona to making a championship match and then get in his head and then find a way to win from there.
So far, Brandon Scott has been incredibly successful in everything you just outlined.
He has. That's why he's the greatest VCW champion of all time and the star of the Last Match musical.
Well, when it turns to fisticuffs, it certainly seems like the tables turn very quickly in the favor of the Indy God, the King of the Indies.
I mean, that's the danger, of course, of something like this, is that it's all great to get someone's head until they get a hold of you and you've made them angry.
And for the first time, Brandon Scott left the ring not under his own power. That was not a strategic move.
It was a strategic move from Matt Cardona.
And now Matt Cardona maybe looking to take a dive. Instead, drop kicks through the ropes because he is always ready for offense.
Certainly showed it right there, and it appears that now that he's gotten his hands on Brandon Scott, the tenor and momentum of this match have shifted significantly.
Well, Matt Cardona said he expected a short match, and Brandon Scott has forced that to not be true.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Brandon Scott, for whatever you want to say about him, has had a good showing here. If nothing else, he's proven.
What's happening?
Apparently, he wants the microphone again.
Brandon Scott has something to say. He also only has 7 seconds to get in the ring.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm done with you. I'm done with your cheating tactics. I'm done. I'm walking out of here and I don't give a crap.
Okay. All right.
Brandon Scott gonna rob not only Matt Cardona of a victory, but also all of the fans ripping up signs, throwing a temper tantrum. This is, even you have to agree, this is really despicable, right?
It's also very strange. You get the championship match you wanted, and now you just walk out?
Sometimes you look in the eyes of someone else and you realize that you don't have a hope. And unfortunately, Brandon Scott may be about to experience that in a very different way because there is a very powerful woman behind him, and I think he is about to realize that.
Oh, Brandon, you made a terrible mistake, sir.
Sometimes a bodyguard is meant to keep someone away from you, and sometimes they're meant to keep another person trapped in the cage.
Absolutely. And in that case, it bought Matt Cardona enough time to get out there and show Brandon Scott why he is the king of the Indies, the king of deathmatch, and the internet champion, among many, many, many other accolades.
Yeah, in addition to her victory, which we can't forget about, Steph De Lander just absolutely earned her pay. And now Matt Cardona regaining control of his own merchandise and sticking it to Brandon Scott.
I'm not sure, does that count as a foreign object?
I think it counts as a piece of clothing, which technically does not. Isn't that one of the rules?
I think so, yeah.
Well, I'm not going to read the sign, but you can.
No, I'm not. I don't want to be taken off the air, thanks. I'm good.
Brandon Scott certainly got a chance to look at it. Maybe he will put in a rebuttal.
Brandon Scott having a real rough go of things on the outside here.
Well, Brandon Scott wanted to spend. Oh, no!
Well, that's going to make for a rough Sunday for Brandon Scott.
Matt Cardona asking for a drink. He wants to celebrate. Or maybe not celebrate. Insult to injury for Brandon Scott. Matt Cardona making this an interactive and immersive experience for our fans. Jeez.
That's a spicy meatloaf pizza, but whatever.
I didn't think it was a fans bring the weapons match.
No, not the can of soda.
You know, you said this wasn't a death match, but maybe you were wrong.
Apparently, referee Jared Artman disagrees with me.
It's certainly a death of the ego match for Brandon Scott, because after this, he ain't gonna have much left.
Yeah, things are not going well for Brandon Scott right now.
And Steph De Lander is taken to reading the headlines out.
Yes, apparently borrowed a megaphone from one of our fans at ringside.
And Brandon Scott showcasing why, despite all the punishment and humiliation he's taken, he is a former VCW heavyweight champion, a former champion in so many ways here in this company.
Yeah, his ability to bounce back here is really incredible. I mean, again, he's still got to get Matt in the ring. He's still got to pin him or make him submit to win the championship.
But this is something that happens with Brandon Scott. We've seen it before, where he gets caught up with the fans. He's so caught up in their perceptions of him.
Yeah, I mean, he really gets, sometimes he takes his eye off the ball, and it's really, I think, cost him sometimes, and it's given Matt Cardona now time to recover. Cardona's still rattled, but Brandon Scott perhaps had a window there he didn't take advantage of.
Sometimes Brandon Scott gets distracted by his anger, but sometimes it fuels him, and he is channeling that rage. And it's not just anger. This is Brandon Scott absolutely enraged.
Yes, I don't really understand why. He's got the championship shot. He's got the match he wanted. I don't understand why he's so angry here. This should be a crowning achievement for him.
Because Brandon Scott has toiled in this company for years, and this is the reception he gets. And Matt Cardona comes in. He has had opportunities with national exposure. He has made a ton of money. Brandon Scott has worked just as long and just as hard. I think there's a lot of jealousy, and some of it's understandable.
Well, I would say, to be clear, I think that Brandon Scott's entirely correct to be upset at these fans for booing him. The audacity they have to boo the greatest VCW champion of all time is offensive to me, but he needs to stay focused and win this match and win these championships that are recognized around the world. Just imagine the doors just open.
And this is about to be a count-out victory, but Matt Cardona in, and immediately Brandon Scott on. This is a different Brandon Scott.
Brandon Scott has found his fire, he's found his focus, and Matt Cardona is in trouble.
Brandon Scott felt so disrespected by Matt Cardona. Brandon Scott became a hair's breadth away from beating Matt Cardona and becoming the official internet champion of the world.
And Deathmatch King, where both championships are on the line.
And Matt Cardona could not have expected things would go this way when he signed up for this match.
No, I think Matt Cardona made very clear he didn't expect things to go this way. He made that clear, like you said earlier, as late as this morning. but he's getting everything he wants and then some from Brandon Scott.
And Brandon Scott is getting everything he wants from Matt Cardona, the chance to earn a little bit of respect, to dish out a little bit of pain. And you see every time he engages in any successful violence, he's making eye contact with the crowd saying, this is for you, this is because of you, and now pitting the Deathmatch King.
That fist drop is devastating, but just two. And again, I understand Brandon Scott being upset at the fans, but you can't focus on them.
But you can harness that. If you can harness that anger, if you can harness that rage, if you can let it fuel you, spite is a powerful motivator, Brandon.
It is, but it requires focus as well. And unfortunately, because Brandon's spite is directed at the fans, he doesn't always have that focus.
Right now, it seems firmly directed on Matt Cardona, and you see fear for the first time in the eyes of Steph De Lander, who is trying to encourage Cardona, willing him to get up. This is a lot of danger for the Deathmatch King. And Brandon Scott is looking closer and closer to winning this match. That would be a tremendous upset.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think Brandon Scott is the best of the best here at VCW, but you can't argue with Matt Cardona's record, and it would be a tremendous victory for Brandon Scott. And I think on a worldwide scale, an upset. But again, this is Brandon Scott's home. He's in VCW. He's the greatest VCW champion of all time. He's got the experience, and there is something to be said for home field advantage.
And Brandon Scott yet again trying to wear down Matt Cardona. You know, Cardona said his goal was to humiliate Brandon Scott. I do think he accomplished that, but you can humiliate someone and still lose to them.
Oh, absolutely.
Real possibility.
I think right now it's a very real possibility. Matt Cardona is in a lot of trouble. Although he's back to his feet.
And trying to rally, but Cardona unable to, and Cardona may be asleep. Is this gonna end with something as simple as a sleeper hold?
Hey, as we put him out, it works.
If that arm falls 3 times, this is over, and Brandon Scott is writing a new chapter in his story and a ticket to every promotion in the country.
History here in VCW about to happen.
Holy
Get your cameras
moly,
out.
this is about to happen. Brandon Scott was so close.
Matt Cardona still got some fight in him.
Matt Cardona put everything on the line. That internet championship, that deathmatch crown, so important to him, and had it scouted this time.
Yeah, it's going to the well one too many times for Brandon Scott. Both men down. It's a question of who can get to their feet first. You got to think the advantage is still with Brandon Scott because of all the abuse and all the time that Matt Cardona spent in that sleeper hold.
Yeah, nothing has changed for Matt Cardona. He is still in need of catching his breath, getting some oxygen. This is a moment of respite, but if Brandon Scott can rally, Cardona has taken a lot more damage than Scott.
That back elbow that can change things in a hurry.
And the mood has changed. Matt Cardona hitting a second gear right now. Double knees. Drop kick precision right to the side of the head.
Absolutely, that rattled Brandon Scott. He is definitely woozy out there, not sure where he's at.
And is the Deathmatch King looking to add another notch to his belt.
Brandon Scott in a very dangerous spot right now. He needs to get out of there. Get up, Brandon.
He's asking the crowd, is he gonna play a little bit of the nostalgia? Is he gonna go back to his roots? And woo, woo, woo is for one moment only. We're back in Long Island.
And a devastating boot to the face. Not pretty, but it works.
And Brandon Scott kicked out. That means almost a true Long Island nightmare for Brandon Scott.
Impressive resilience. Taking a kick straight to the face and then kicking out is not an easy thing to do.
Matt Cardona has thrown everything he has at Brandon Scott, except for possibly that radio silence, and now Brandon Scott throwing the referee into the mix. Poke to the eyes.
Smart move by Brandon Scott.
Flash of excellence! This is done! Holy Lord, this is done! No!
I don't believe it. I don't believe the slice of excellence is the most devastating finishing maneuver in wrestling.
You don't believe it. I don't believe it. Brandon Scott doesn't believe it, but most importantly, Matt Cardona's living it. He just made it happen. He kicked out of the slice of excellence.
I can't, that's amazing. I don't believe it. I genuinely don't believe it.
This is an astonishing moment in VCW as Matt Cardona trying desperately to play defense on those kicks, pushing the leg down. Brandon got more than he didn't, though. Cardona is up, and Brandon Scott has Cardona right where he wants him, helpless! Who thought it would end this way?
A vicious series of moves. I don't know if Cardona's still awake.
Brandon Scott! Brandon Scott is showing more heart and fire. This was a man who tried to walk out of the match only 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, clearly some switch flipped in Brandon Scott's head because he is going out there with a fire and precision like I have not seen from him in a long time. And this focus is going to win him this match. He needs to stay with it. I don't agree with this roll to the outside. I think Brandon's one of the best, but I don't agree with this move.
Brandon now trying to regroup, maybe needs to rethink his strategy. We were going to say a moment ago that this was the Brandon Scott that won the championship. This is the Brandon Scott that became... Wait, Brandon, what are you doing? Brandon, you haven't won that yet. He's holding the Internet Championship, and this is getting very close.
I don't like where this is.
I don't either. Don't either at all. Okay, that is Steph De Lander's belt. You do not go through... Someone... Oh, no!
My goodness!
Brandon, what are you doing?
Brandon!
Oh, no! Steph De Lander's head just got smacked into the steel. We need assistance. Steph, are you okay?
Or something out here. We need some sort of medical help. I don't know what to do out here.
She's clutching her head, and Brandon Scott has the belt. Things have completely fallen apart.
I don't know what's going on. This is just chaos.
And Brandon Scott trying to cheat. I don't know if there's disqualifications in a deathmatch crown match. It certainly doesn't seem like there are. DDT on the championship, and no!
Brandon Scott staying alive out there. I don't know if anyone in the back can hear us. We need some help out here.
We got Steph De Lander still trying to recover on the side. Brandon Scott just got DDT'd into her title, and...
That's Matt Cardona's title.
Oh, man. There's a lot going on. And Matt Cardona...
He's winding up. He's ready to hit Brandon Scott with it.
And the referee is grabbing it out. Brandon Scott may be about to take out Matt Cardona. Slice bread number 2!
That could be it right there. Cardona's
it
last
certainly can! Deep stack, and Matt Cardona had to give everything he had to kick out of that match. He's just grasping, clasping, almost like trying to make a tag, but there's no partner there.
I don't know what he's looking for there, but he needs to find something or he's going to lose his championship and his crown tonight here in Norfolk, Virginia.
And Steph De Lander finally getting to her feet, which is more than we can say about Matt Cardona, who is still struggling on the ground. And Brandon Scott yet again has that title belt.
He seems to just be singularly focused on that championship. I don't know if it's a strategy or desperation or both, but he's clearly got a plan here.
And now the referee trying to get that belt away from Brandon Scott as well. Cardona ducks into the referee, and our referee just got hit.
Oh man, that is a vicious. Okay, we need another medic out here for the referee.
This match has taken its toll on everyone that has surrounded it. Steph De Lander, our referee, members of our fans.
We need another official.
And no one can win this match right now. Radio silence! Radio silence! 1, 2, 3. Matt Cardona just won this match, but there's no referee.
We need an official out here. If you look at here, we need an official out here.
You can count to 40. Brandon Scott is out, but you can't count because you're not wearing the shirt. We need a referee.
We've got to have another official. I know we have more officials here. I've seen at least 3 other officials here tonight.
Matt Cardona trying to wake up the official, but he's left himself very, very, very vulnerable. And who is Brandon Scott calling to? He seems like he's calling someone. Is this going to explain why there's been no official? Oh, there's an official.
We have an official coming out here. Brandon Scott going up top, looking for perhaps the slice of excellence again. The Scott Buster.
And Brandon Scott is about to become the Internet Champion. That count was a lot faster.
A 2 count, still a 2 count.
Totally different cadence, totally different referee. Everything is changing around us. And now Brandon Scott beginning to lose that focus.
And a slice of excellence to the referee. We're in a round of refs here.
This should be a disqualification, but there's no one to disqualify Brandon. Oh, Brandon! He's going under the ring and he's grabbing a chair.
Oh boy.
Oh, Brandon, think about this. Think about this. I think he thought about it.
I think he thought about it and decided he liked it.
I think he's made a decision, and we are about to watch a man's head get caved in.
I think so. Matt Cardona just defenseless out there.
And Cardona.
Oh, and Steph De Lander paying dividends.
What goes around comes around, and Brandon Scott, radio silence again. Has he finally silenced Brandon Scott? Our referee is back up. He did it.
The winner of the match, and still Internet Champion and Deathmatch King, Matt Cardona!
The crown, the title, it all stays in the hand of the Indy God, the king of the Indies, Matt Cardona. Brandon Scott put it all at risk. Brandon Scott fought aggressively and took it to Matt Cardona, but there's a reason why this man is the king of the Indies. He has proven it, and he has conquered here in VCW. He has captured gold in almost every company he's been to. Are we going to see Matt Cardona again? Whether we do or don't, this man is still the internet champion. He is still the Deathmatch King, and he has something to say. For Brandon Metheny, I'm Jason E. Thank you so much for joining us at VCW.